Well, hello, everybody. How are you? Happy Monday. Well, guys, I just wanted to jump on today for Monday motivation. And for those of you that don't know who I am Deborah Franklin. I am the host of Conversations with Deborah Franklin, but most of all, I am the founder and of Church Girl CEO, where we are leaders in ministry and in business. And most of all, y'all, my other baby is Deborah Franklin Publishing, or DFP, like we're calling it now. So, guys, I just wanted to jump onto you guys today and just talk to you about what if you can dream it, you can see it. I think that is what I put on there because so many times we don't believe our dreams to be as what they are, and we don't want to believe that God can speak to us through our dreams and that we can see things and that God is showing us um, who we are and what we're doing. And so the biggest thing is that we see it, but we don't believe it. I need you to see it and believe it. What did I say? See it and believe it. Don't just see it. Again, what did I say? See it and believe it. Because I was reminded of a story when in First Kings. And some of us, this is a familiar story. It's all about vacation. Y'all know us in Vacation Bible School. It's all about Solomon. And some people would call it that God gave Solomon a blank check. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, he really did. How many of you know that what you are asking and your desires from God is like having a blank check? It's like having the opportunity to do whatever you want to do, that the sky is the limit, that there is no limit to what you can do. There is no limit. There is no ceiling. All you have to do is ask for it and believe that it's going to happen. Because if we look at First Kings, I think it's First Kings 3:5. Yes, keep believing. Um, First Kings 3:5 through 15. That is what I want you to read, that whole story. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to read some of it. Because hello. And I y'all right now, and for those of you that are on Facebook, we have been seeing this a lot. It's coming up as Facebook users, so I don't know what this is, so please put your name in it. But First Kings 3:5 through 15, and Gibeon, the Lord appeared, at Gibeon, so it's at a place. The Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream. At night in a dream, y'all. This was it. And God said, ask for whatever you want me to give you. Solomon answered, you have shown great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he was faithful to you in righteousness and upright in heart. You have continued this great kindness to him and have given me a son to sit on his throne this very day. Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David, but I am the only little child, and I do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant here among the people, you have chosen a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between the right and the wrong, for who is able to govern this great people of yours? Now, I'm not going to read all of it. I'm not going to read all of this because there's some key things that I just want us to tap into, because I don't have very long for this moment. And when it says that the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream, he said, ask for whatever you want me to give you. That means, guys, you can ask for whatever you want. And then you're saying, well, Deborah, you're normally talking about business. You're normally talking about being prosperous. You're normally talking about abundance. You're normally talking about this. You're normally talking about that. Well, what does this mean? This means that if I want abundance in my life, all I got to do is pray and ask God. He's going to give me the directions and the discernment on how to receive it. He's going to show up for me like never before. And then it says, and then because God gives us that blank check, God tells us that we can do it. And so many of you need to realize that God is showing up for you. But then he showed you You just don't believe that it can happen. You are self-sabotaging yourself. You are seeing it and you are saying, oh, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the education. I don't know the right people. And that's called self-sabotage. You got the door wide open. And instead of walking through it, you see everything that's wrong with the door. The handle's not right. The hinge not right. It's not the right color. But guess what? It does not matter what's going on with the door. The thing is that it's open and it's for you to walk through it. You cannot talk yourself out of where God is trying to take you. Again, if you see it, you have to believe it. You're looking at everybody around you and you're like, well, how they getting this and how they getting that? That's because they asked for it. That's because they believe what God has showed them. God showed them living in this house. God showed them driving this car. God showed them being able to lay hands on the sick and they were healed. God showed them being able to speak life into someone that was in a barren place. God showed them that they could prophesy to the masses. God showed them on the stage speaking to millions. God showed them that they could have children all over the place. God showed them speaking in arenas. God showed them that they had that they could just be married with children, and showed them the dream that they wanted. God showed it to them. And the reason why they got it is because they believed it. They started to walk in it. They started to get what they needed to get to that next level. He showed them, they got the discernment and the wisdom, because Solomon got wisdom. He wanted wisdom on how to rule the people. And that means God is going to give you wisdom on how to act and how to speak when you get that seat at the table. Don't worry about who's at the table. Just thank God that you are at the table. Because when you get to the table, because God has already showed it to you, he's going to show you how to be authentically you and do what you have been called to do. You can do this. And I promise you, if you change your mindset about everything that's going around you and everything that's happening around you, you will definitely see the move that you need. Read 1 Kings 3:5-15. God is going to start showing up to you in your dreams like never before. Some of you can say that right now, that God has been showing up for you in your dreams. God has been showing you things in your dreams, and you've been like, me? And yes, yeah, it's you. It is you. He is showing you where you are going. He's giving you that blank check to show up where you want to go. And that's what we have to do. And yes, God shows up and shows out right when we least expect it. We cannot put, and the problem is that we keep put limitations on God. We cannot put the limits. There are no limits. Don't set yourself up to be limited. Know that you got everything you need in the palm of your hand. You have what you need. You were born with it. You have been graced with it. You have been anointed with it. You have been called to it. So you got to do it, y'all. You got to do it. Yes, you might have to operate in fear. Yes, you might have to go through a bunch of people that might try to use you, abuse you, talk about you, and all that good stuff. But you have to do it. You can sustain it because you know in your nona that God has called you to this. So again, what you see in your dream, you have to believe it. And then when you believe it, you're going to start seeing that abundance. And some of us keep equating abundance with us being rich, us being that. But you need to be praying, God, give me an abundance so I'm able to serve your people, because that's what Solomon did. God said he prayed and he asked for wisdom. Yes, wisdom with the abundance so I can serve your people even more and show up the way that I'm supposed to show up. That's what those are key things that you should be praying for. And that when you have abundance, you can definitely do what God has called you to do. We want you to join us for 4 power-packed days for our abundance mastermind, because we're going to be baby. We are cracking the head of the devil, because we are getting ready to walk in abundance. Because if we can walk in abundance, we don't have to worry about those things around us. We don't have to worry about wondering if our credit score is this, because we're going to have the abundance to boost our credit score. We're going to have that abundance in our mind to know that we can be victorious when it seems like we're losing. We are going to have the abundance that that we need in order to walk the way that we want to walk. Y'all, I could care less about the material things. I'm looking for the abundance to be able to serve his people even more, to be able to sow into more people, sow into more youth, sow into more women, that they can strive and come out of poverty, because that is what we are here to do. We are here to empower others to come out of poverty. But for Church Girl CEO, we have been called to empower other women to come out of poverty, and for lack of a better statement, live their best life, live life like it's golden, however you want to say it. That is what we have been called, ordained, and chosen to do, and that is what we have to do. We have got to step up to the plate, hit that ball out of the park, and walk in the abundance that God has called us to. You know, it is not too late for you to sign up for the workshop. Y'all, it is starting on Wednesday through Saturday morning. We're coming in. We are crushing these beliefs, these misbeliefs that we have about living in abundance, because it is time for us to stop living in lack, living without. It is time for us to start showing up and showing people that just because I say I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, baptized with a mighty burning fire, that I don't have more than $5 to give on something, that I can show up with the wisdom of Solomon to be able to discern when I should go to an event, when I should set up a booth, when I should partner with somebody, because that is learning how to live in abundance and then how to multiply it. Because just like those servants, we don't want to be told that we're evil because we couldn't multiply what God had given us. We want to operate. Our God is the God of more than enough. Absolutely. And we have to know that God can give us more than enough, and he wants us to live in abundance. He wants us to be able to have. No, it's not to show people, but you know, when they do see it, all we can say is God did it for me. God showed up right when I least expected. This is not the house that I wanted. This is the house that God blessed me with. This isn't the car that I thought I was going to get. This is what God blessed me with. This is not the country that I wanted to go to. This is the country God told me to go to. This is not the person that I wanted to sow into. This is the person God told me to sow into. Because just like Solomon, God is getting ready to start speaking to you through your dreams. Your dreams are getting ready to be more powerful, more potent, more vivid, more in color. You're going to remember them like never before, because God is getting ready to show you where you're going and how you're going to operate in abundance, because that is what we have been called on. Elisha fed 100 men with 20 loaves of bread, and there were leftovers. Jesus fed 10,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish, and there were leftovers. Yes, that is that, because God is the God of multiplication. God is the God that is the sustainer. God is the God that will bring, just like he did in Egypt. He's going to bring you out by a fire by night, and then he's going to give you light by day. God is going to part the Red Sea to let you get to where you're going, and then when he closes it, he's going to keep all your enemies, because see, the enemies drowned in the Red Sea. Everybody else, the slaves got out. So you need to think about that in your, oh my God, I thank you. That is where we are with abundance. God is telling us to take the leap. God is telling you, you've been standing on that mountain just like Moses. You've been saying, God, what am I going to do? And God told him, it's in your hand. Cast out that rod. God is telling you that the abundance is in your hand. Cast out your rod, and that sea is going to part, because you are getting ready to walk on dry land to your abundance, to your purpose place. You are getting ready to step out like never before, because God has showed you that this is nothing but you have been in captivity too long in poverty. You've been captive in poverty. You've been Pharaoh, and you've been letting poverty be your Pharaoh, holding you, telling you to make bricks without breaking bricks without the right supplies. God has given you the idea for your business, or you already in your business and you don't see how you can expand. It is time for you to cast out your rod, part that Red Sea, and do what God has called you to do. Stop murmuring, stop complaining, because that's what happened to them. They were murmuring murmuring and complaining. And this is why it took them so long to get to the promised land. So shut your mouth and do what God has called you to do. That's right. I said it. Shut up and start doing what God has called you to do, because you have seen this in your dream. The only prayers he doesn't answer are the ones you don't ask. That right there, Amy, you nailed it. If you don't ask for it, how does he know to give it to you? If you don't show up, how does he know where to show up? It's time for us to be intentional about what we are doing. It's time for us to be intentional about what we are doing. You have got to be intentional and stop self-sabotaging yourself, because we have been called. It may not look like you living in abundance right now. Your checking account might be negative. You probably just got turned down for every loan that you have applied for. But God is saying, pray and ask and let me activate what's in you. Because see, the next time you're going to be approved, the next time you are going to be in abundance and not in lack, because we are getting ready to operate in abundance, because that spirit of lack and that spirit of depression, that spirit of things holding us down, that spirit of self-sabotage is gone. It's annihilated. Today, it goes back to the pits of hell from which it came. We are walking in power today. We are walking in power. We're naming it and claiming it. And again, if you see it, you got to believe it. If you see it, you got to believe it. If you see it, you got to believe it. If you see it, I'm going to say it again. If you see it, you got to believe it. And just like Moses, I'm going to go back to this. He looked at that Red Sea and he couldn't see it, the other side, because he was like, God, what do I do? And that's where you got to be. You might not see it, but you're going to have to ask God, what am I supposed to do? And I'm just going to tell you right now, it's in your hand. Quit answering Jesus with excuses. Say your yes. And just like we said the other day, the yes is what's going to happen. When you say yes, that's when everything starts to go. When you say your yes, because God is getting ready to do it. That's right. See it. Well, all right, guys, I love you to life, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And guys, I also want you to make sure that you are sowing into the Church Girl. Not only show up for the Abundance Workshop, but y'all know we are still doing missions. I want you to show up to our Abundance Workshop, as well as sow into our water project. I'm going to play the book video, and it also talks about our water project that we're getting ready to do in Kenya, y'all. We're getting ready to do the water project. I think my assistant is on. She can share that link. So if you're not able to come to the Abundance Workshop, please sow into our water project. It's going to be fire, y'all. We're so excited about what we're getting ready to do for the lives of his people in Kenya. Well, all right, guys, I love you to life. Ain't nothing you can do about it. But most of all, if you can see it, believe it. Have a good one. Peace.